Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between and adjacent, welcome to the Rush Rundown, what I believe is the first and only 10-minute testing ripoff for Rush Duels. Today on the Rush Rundown, we're going to take a look at a deck that truly boasts an insane amount of firepower. A deck that can wipe both the opponent's monsters and spell traps straight off the board in a moment's notice. A deck I've been looking forward to featuring on the series for a very long time, because I personally find it to be one of the most fun decks to play in the game. Not to keep any of us waiting any longer, please allow me to introduce you, Blaster's Inferno.
Well, son, I'm back with the milk.
This is the part of the video where I tell you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Before we hop right into the card by card, I do have a little thing to say. First of all, I'm sorry that I'm pretty sick right now. My nose is really clogged up from a cold, so I'm going to sound a little off for most of this video. Second, this Rush Rundown was actually requested a very long time ago. If there is a deck you would like to see me feature on this series, put it in the comments down below. Now, Blaster's Inferno is a really interesting deck. You might be familiar with the spell card Dragon's Inferno, and you might be familiar with Blaster, the Dragon Ruler. As you can see, he's actually featured on the Dragon's Inferno card. Now, this deck doesn't actually have anything to do with Blaster, despite the name of the skill and this art I just showed you. No, this deck actually revolves around a fire dragon known as Volcano Attack Dragon. You might notice this is a level 7 normal monster, because yes, this is also a Secret Order deck. However, where everything ties together lies in the skill. So let's go ahead and check that out now. Like I said, our skill is Blaster's Inferno. This skill can be used if all monsters with 400 or more attack in your deck are dragon monsters, and a deck contains at most one level 5 or higher non-fire attribute monster. Choose one face-up level 6 or higher fire attribute normal monster in your field, and it gains 600 attack on the end of this turn. If it was a level 7 monster, you can add one Dragon's Inferno from your deck to graveyard to your hand, twice per duel. This is where our plays around the Volcano Attack Dragon come from. When we summon out this monster is when we get to activate our Blaster's Inferno skill to boost its attack, and either add from our deck or graveyard a Dragon's Inferno. Now, you might say, oh, level 7, that's pretty hard to get out. Well, that's of course why we play Secret Order, special summon this level 7 monster. However, the strength of Secret Order comes in the fact that this can special summon from grave. That is where the other synergistic card comes from. Dragonic Pressure. This is the true linchpin of this deck, which is why we're starting our card by card here. Send 3 dragon-type monsters from your hand to the graveyard. Destroy all monsters on the field. If you destroy a monster by this effect, special summon one level 4 or lower dragon-type monster from your graveyard to your field in face-up defense position. This card is essentially Raigeki. Use the dragon transformation from like the Dark Souls games, if you get that. It wipes every monster, so you would lose your own monsters. However, if this is, let's say, turn 3 and you went first, then your opponent probably destroyed all your monsters already, so you're on an open board, the way the deck plays aside. This card is such an insane thing to resolve. At the moment, I don't believe we have any pure destruction immune cards. A lot of the max monsters and some of the other random boss monsters have trap destruction immunity, but that's completely irrelevant to this, where we're just wiping the entire board. This card is insanely clutch for taking out things like Ancient Gear Golem, which is a standard in the game at this point. Cards like the Fusions and Psychics, they build up their huge board of the Fusion, a Prima Katana, and something extra. Just wipe all that. People have to spend so much material on getting these board states that we can solve with essentially one card. Now, some people might look at this card and see, oh, it's essentially a -4, where we're spending this card and 3 dragons to wipe the board, but the special summon effect is technically a +1. Wiping the board basically goes even with there's 3 monsters, and our preferred dragon to summon is also a +1. That would be the Treasure Dragon. We're playing 3 of these. Requirement: you have 4 or more dragon-type monsters in your graveyard during your main phase that you special summon this card from your hand to graveyard. Draw 1 card. There you go. So the idea behind this deck is you Dragonic Pressure, pitching Treasure Dragon, one of our big guys, and whatever other random cards we might have. We have a whole bunch of other dragons that can just be milled. or I'm sorry, pitched. And then you pressure. Hopefully you have more than just 3 dragons you pitched in grave when you activate pressure, to then summon the treasure dragon and draw a card, hoping to get a secret order or a missing piece. Something like maybe you want to draw the volcano attack dragon, maybe you're going to draw upon a greed, maybe if you're on avarice. Like, we did test avarice in this deck. It was nice for replacing our materials, but you'll see in testing I was playing avarice for most of the games, I think. But greed ended up being better in testing, like after the fact, because it just made it better to have pressure online more. But I can understand if people would want to play avarice instead, as I was playing it at first. Anyway, so let's go over the rest of our monsters. We're on 3 beta burn dragon. Now, this isn't mandatory. This could be any level 4 or lower dragon in the game, pretty much. Like, you could literally put anything in the slot. I put beta burn because sometimes just getting a little extra damage off the burn is relevant, because sometimes you just slightly miss lethal on some attacks, some big pushes. So that's why I'm playing the 3 beta burn. But you could put another 1500 guy. I only have 2 of our 1500 normal dragons in here, so you could just put a 3rd set of them. We're on 2 Triad Drago. He's offline a whole bunch in this deck because himself and Treasure are level 3s. Also, we're frequently wiping the opponent's board, so they don't usually have a face-up level 7 or higher dragon level 7 or higher monster to actually get the draw. But if you have to, like, find pressure, or maybe you're missing a dragon or something, Triad could be useful for drawing a card. Like I said, we're on 3 Treasure Dragon. Our legend card is Red Eyes Black Dragon, level 7 normal. Okay? He's a secret order target. And we do need at least 1 more high-level monster for our skill. We're on 3 of the Volcano Attack Dragon. Important, this is mandatory. You need all 3 of these guys. He's one of the most important cards in the deck. And then, like I said, we're on 2 sets of 1500 level 4 monsters. Now, our spell traps, of course, I said Pot of Greed, 3 Secret Order, which are mandatory. I'm on 2 Dragon's Inferno. I was at first testing 3 Dragon's Inferno, but I ended up cutting it down to 2 because I was like, well, hold on. The skill can loop these twice. So I'm essentially on 4 of them, right? Do I really need 5? 4 can probably win us most games. We are 1 Talismanic Seal Right. This is another card I added in after testing. When I switched out Avarice, I realized I needed something to get cards back in the deck if we've gotten to a grind state where we're out of secret orders and we just need to get one of these guys on board to tribute. Seal Ray helps us with that, and also will help us win battle when we just can't resolve pressure and can't find secret order, or just can't do either one of those. So I ended up cutting the 3rd Dragon's Inferno for the Talismanic Seal Ray when I switched into the Pot of Greed. And then, like I said, 3 Dragon Lock Pressure. There is an argument to playing 2 of this and maybe like another trap card to be a little more controlly. I just like being able to, if we go first, turn 1, set pressure as part of our back row, to then hopefully just draw a hand of monsters, to then immediately resolve it turn 3. Because I do kind of want to go first with this deck, despite the fact that it's pretty much, on paper, it looks like a going second deck. Our Legend Trap, of course, is Negate Attack, and then we're on 1 Buffered Slime. Slime is pretty much falling out of favor in the recent meta, but I would say we should probably still include it because it has more hits than another trap card that could take its place, like Rice Terrace or something. I just don't think Rice Terrace hits enough in the current meta to play it over Slime if we don't have the space to just play both. Our extra, I just put the Cyber Dragons in here because we don't need the extra at all. Anyway, with that said, let's hop into some games. Alright, here we are, game number 1, and you might notice up here in the top right, I have the fast forward button on, because this one is a long one. I actually have this entire duel up on my channel as its own separate video where you can watch me play this one out live. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. We're just going to fast forward through this one and I'll just give brief commentary. You know, anything to really protect me from yapping too much while I'm sick, huh? So you can see we actually opened up a pretty decent hand. I'll fast forward just so we can talk about it. Negate Attack 3 monsters is pretty good. We read that our opponent was on insects, so that's why I put my guys in attack position, trying to bait them into swinging into this negate attack. Didn't really work, and then we attack into their negate attack. We're just going to go ahead and fast forward once again. You see now the formation, they have insects and the treated beetles, so it didn't even matter that we tried to bluff them into anything because they just had the out anyway. They summon Megami, milled a whole bunch, oh my god, drew a bunch, and then they have Pot of Avarice. They go ahead and put a whole bunch of their guys back, leaving only the Ants Giving in there, putting back all their other insect guys. They go ahead and tribute summon Ancient Gear Golem. This is really rough for us. The insect deck, this specific version, the Megami insects, does frequently just end up being like Ancient Gear Golem control, which if you want to see that, you can go check out my rush rundown of this deck specifically, where that's how most of my games tend to be. We rip Dragons Inferno off the top, so we're going to pop a card, and it is Insect Rampage. Something I am so glad to see out of the game early, because this is one of the strongest cards in the deck, and it is at limit 1. Going ahead and blast Inferno, saying, oh my god, we can't out this freaking Ancient Gear Golem, so at least we can pop the back row. And his card Restoration, I'm actually kind of glad we hit that, because anything to keep the insect deck off of material is good for us. So they're going ahead and normal summon a monster. It's 4 insects. They're just turning us into insects. Summoning out another Megami. Jesus Christ, they just keep seeing it after recycling. Summon out the Biomech Mantis. And we have 2 insects on board. They go ahead and normal summon Megami effect, and they whiff, hitting the intruding beetles instead of a monster. So we thankfully dodged the effect here, and they're just going to swing in with their big beaters and almost kill us. Now, we have 1,600 life points left, but that is pretty much lethal if we try to play into this Ancient Gear Golem at all. Thankfully, we rip a secret order right off the top. Now our Volcano Attack Dragon can safely run over this Ancient Gear Golem, and now we can finally start playing defensively again, putting our other 2 guys in defense. We have 0 defense on most of our monsters, so this is really rough for us. Anyway, they're going ahead and summon more insects, turn us into insects. And they go to resolve the Megami effect. Now, they build the 1 Tribute Megami. This was, in fact, a 1 in 3 chance for them to win. And thankfully, they did. So go ahead and just swing over our Blaster, swing over our Dragonite, swing over our Applet Lizard, and we go ahead and draw our next hand. We have Inferno on field, but they have no back row. We see Pot of Avarice, because, like I said at the top, this was a version of playing Pot of Avarice. Put everything back, draw 2 cards, and it's pretty much over here. We're going to resolve pressure, summon out the Treasure Dragon, draw a card, just try to fight any way to lethal. Secret Order out the Volcano Attack Dragon, normal summon the Applet Lizard, Blast Inferno, boosting us up, swinging in for 36, and then finish them off with a 1,500 Applet Lizard for game. Oh man. Despite trying to keep this one brief, I really still yapped a whole lot. Alright, here we are, game number 2, and you can see we're going first with a pretty bad hand. We only have 2 monsters and 2 secret orders, so we're going to draw for turn, hopefully find something better, and we find a 3rd monster. Thankfully, we can set all cards in our hand, but we are kind of out of luck with having any kind of utility. Also, we are really hoping the opponent doesn't see any backrow destruction, because we would like to not lose these secret orders. They're on spellcasters, and they go ahead and normal a Swordsman of Roadstar. This is really bad for us. Them being able to resolve the Swordsman of Roadstar skill right off the bat, the 7-star road. You saw they added the 7's road, and then oh my god, they also have the 7's road witch. So they can go witch, summon 7's road, pitching another one. I don't know why they added one if they already had one, but here they go, resolving the effect, milling negate attack, very funny, and they also just had fusion. So I don't really know why they activated the skill at all. So I'm going to go ahead and fusion summon the 7's paladin and just swing into our board of defense position guys with no ways to pierce. This is pretty fine for us. We can just top deck pretty much anything, and oh my god, this is an insane top deck. Unfortunately, we're 1 dragon off from resolving pressure, which would have just cleaned up the board. But having all 3 secret orders in like just having them is insane. Sorry as I lost my voice from this freaking stuffy nose. But we're just gonna summon our other guys and go full aggro, punching over those guys, clearing their board, and now setting again a whole bunch of blanks. How we feel at this point is pretty bad. They ripped another Swordsman Roadstar, but seeing the Mystic Dealer was almost positive, but the 7's Road Sorcerer really screws us over there as they summon back with the Witch and the 7's Road, and then they had another 7's Road in the hand, summoning it out, using both Sevdrone's magician effects, milling it, going super huge, swinging over all our guys. The only thing that can save us at this point is 3 dragons in hand to resolve Dragonic Pressure, and wouldn't you know, it's exactly what we drew. 3 dragons, summon Treasure Dragon back, draw a card. It is a 1500 attack for monster. Dragon's Inferno, wipe out the back row. It's pierced, they're on pierce for whatever reason. Use our last secret order, summon out Volcano Attack Dragon, summon our guy, and like I usually say, there ain't no overkill quite like overkill. 3600 Volcano Attack Dragon to the face. A solid game. Here we are, game number 3, and you know what that means, a 1v1 versus Cyber Dragon. You can see we are going first, and we opened a pretty decent hand of a bunch of cards we can set, and a secret order right at the top. So we're just going to, like I said, set 5 cards, a beautiful thing. And thankfully we're not up against a Dark Galaxy player. You can see he's playing Zuijo, but we were able to tell live from his skill that it was in fact Cyber Dragon. Well, he also has a 6-card extra deck. It's more of a thing you can just infer. You can see he only set 3 cards. I was reading here that he probably just opened like Assault Dragon, Search Dragon, or Ancient Gear Golem. So he didn't really have anything to play into. So we're just going to flip our guys, activate Inferno, Tribute Summon the Volcano Dragon we ripped off the top, Blast Inferno. We're going to take out another back row here. We hit Slime, which is pretty nice. And our other card we hit is Cyber Entry, confirming it's Cyber Dragon, but not being a very valuable hit, considering they don't have anything set up at the moment. Now, we missed lethal by 100 there. Very rough. If we had seen something like Beta Burn here, we still would have missed lethal. They would need more monsters. They're going to go ahead and normal summon a Joint Tech Ace and Barrage of Steel our back row. And then, oh, their other set was Barrage of Steel, so they Barrage of Steel out of the back row, contributing 2 monsters for the Cyber Assault Dragon, revealing that yes, it was in fact Cyber Assault that they were breaking on. They go ahead and swing our Volcano Attack Dragon, but we are in a very commanding position. A simple secret order just wins us the game. And would you look at that? There's secret order. The only thing we have to worry about is if this back row is anything relevant. And they scoop immediately, showing that in fact, no, the back row was not relevant. Now, we had that game won pretty much 100 out of 100 times, considering they set 3 irrelevant cards. But hey, a win over Cyber Dragon is a win in my book. So we're back with the deck. And hey, it looked pretty dominant, didn't it? Let's go over the pros and cons. First, the pros. Being able to wipe the board with Dragonic Pressure is such an unbelievably satisfying feeling. I have another video up on my channel of me testing this deck, and oh my god, you could just see how nutso I was going every time I got to resolve this card. It is just so fun. It's just such a fun card to resolve. And then just drawing 1 of Treasure Dragon, it's just a little cherry on top, just saying, hey, +1 for me. As well, the skill is really good. As long as we keep seeing the Volcano Attack Dragon, we don't even need to find the secret orders or the Dragonic Pressure. As long as we keep getting this guy out on board and just boosting him really high every turn, we're pretty much able to out anything but 3k dudes without seeing secret order or pressure, which is really cool. There's also a whole bunch of other dragon support cards that we just didn't really try out because they just didn't seem to really fit the theme. But if you wanted to, you can slide those into the deck. Like I said, Beta Burn Dragon is not mandatory. You do not need to play normals here. You can play other dragons. They just need to be normal summons. There's no really any limit to your level 4 or lower monsters, like stat-wise or effect-wise. You don't need to be playing normals. You can play other guys. As well, having immediate access to Dragon's Inferno, it's something where it's pretty unique that a deck can just say, I don't care about the opponent's back row. And I think that's really cool to have like a unique deck that's not overtuned, that can just ignore something. Because just being able to ignore back row isn't really going to win you the game on the spot, but it lets you go into a more unique kind of game flow, if that makes sense. As well, there's so many generics it interacts with in interesting ways, like Pot of Green Avarice and Talismanic Seal Ray. There's a lot of variance to this deck that could lead to a lot of like better games. It just creates better games. It's a very fun deck. Now, the cons. We are playing a lot of spells that just do absolutely nothing if you only see that. Yeah, Pot of Greed's nice, but if you're Pot of Greed drawing into all 3 secret orders when you have no monsters, you're kind of shit out of luck. And as well, like I said just a second ago, we can't out 3k guys without secret order or pressure. So if we're in a grind game and we've already spent both, or maybe they've been milled by like a rhythmical performer or a card like that, or maybe from slime, we do just kind of lose on the spot. Also, we are really weak into Ancient Gear Golem. It's really hard for us. Like I just said again, he's 3000 attack and he can pierce over our monsters because a lot of our dragons are 0 defense. So we can run into a struggle where if we're not seeing Secret Order or pressure, Ancient Gear Golem pretty much just solos our entire deck. It's highly likely that because of the count of guys who are just kind of like here in the deck, we do run into situations where we resolve pressure but don't really have a play after that, because you could do a turn 2 pressure summon treasure, but then you don't have 4 dragons engraved, so pressure does nothing but sit there. Or you could do something like Triad Drago, just kind of bricks you up. You go, okay, cool, Triad Drago, draw a card. Oh, we're still not in this game. Triad Drago just gets run over and you die. But that said, this is probably, when I just want to casually play Rush, this is probably the deck I'm going to pick. This is going to be my new, like, oh, I just want to play a couple games and just have some fun. I don't really want to grind ranked. I'm not going to play Cyber Dragon. I'm not going to play Materion or things like that. When I just want to chill out and play, this is my deck of choice. Previously, my deck of choice was Dark Magician, but I just needed to change it up a little bit. And this deck is similar, but different. And with that said, that's the end of this video. I'd like to remind you, if there is a deck you would like to see me feature in the series, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. We have a brand new box coming out, I believe, the day I release this video. So if you want to see me play a deck from that box, leave that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Goodbye.